recent news, Airbnb is leaving China. They're blaming COVID. But is that really the reason why Airbnb is exiting? I don't think so. We've talked before about how China just doesn't like foreign tech companies operating in China. They've used tech protectionism to their advantage extremely successfully. There should be, but it's not in vogue. You couldn't actually publish these things, but there should be case studies, right, at HBS showing how tech protectionism works, that it can, and it has in China, and now you're seeing it in India, helped to keep large foreign tech monopolies out, to give local tech startups an upper hand, and to insulate them from, larger, deeper pockets coming in from foreign competitors. And there's a bunch of benefits for the country's interests, not just to have more local jobs, to protect the user's data and have those companies be more respectful of the country's data policies. Well, in China, that is really the lack thereof, but you get the point. And then thirdly is to foster a local VC community. And that's really what you need, is you need the startups, then you need the dollars. And if you have a bunch of foreign tech companies operating in your country, and that's where all your volumes are going, you're not going to be able to then get local startup successes, which is then kind of the precursor to get a really strong VC community. China's been able to accomplish both, clearly, over the past couple decades, in large part due to tech protectionism. So, latest example of tech protectionism at work is Airbnb pulling out of China. They blame it on COVID, but this was a long time coming. And it wasn't just because of COVID that Airbnb is pulling, right? Airbnb, all things considered, is still doing pretty well despite COVID around the world. But what is it about China, which is why they are leaving China? They aren't leaving, other parts of Southeast Asia, but they're leaving China. So this article from the Financial Times doesn't really touch on it. There's kind of some buried nuggets in this. But look at how much time and commitment Airbnb spent investing in China. They haven't broken out how much money they've invested in China. That wouldn't really be a good PR move by them. But for example, the co-founder, ever since Nathan, the co-founder of Airbnb, took over Airbnb's China business, he's been making monthly trips to China. You know how disruptive that is to your personal schedule? You know how much time you need to dedicate something to say, I'm going to go to China once a month? That is not easy, okay? So lots of human resources from top management and one of the co-founders going to China. Then you've got other examples here. The company rebranded itself. In 2017, Airbnb changed its name in an effort to compete with homegrown operators such as Tujia and Xiaozhu. What's also not mentioned in that paragraph, we had Fritz Demopoulos on the show, I think pre-COVID. And he is he founded Qunar, which was then acquired and kind of merged into what is now Ctrip. Ctrip is basically like Expedia or Booking.com of China and other parts of Southeast Asia. If you're interested in this, go check out our interview with the co-founder of the thing that is kicking Airbnb's ass in China. Airbnb is investing money, people, changing their brand. They still were never able to get close to the localized Chinese competitors. So look at this. By 2020, so pre-COVID, Airbnb had 150,000 properties in China, compared with 1.2 million from the market leader Tujia. Why would that be? Why could Airbnb, despite changing its name in 2017, dedicating all this time and energy, why is it that Airbnb never even had a fifth of the properties that the leader had in China? Why do you think that is? Maybe it's because the government didn't want Airbnb to be successful. And actually, there are nuggets, little breadcrumbs in this article that would show that. So Vivian Wu, A former Airbnb host in Beijing said she stopped having guests from Airbnb after local authorities stepped up scrutiny of the platform. They wanted guests to report in to the police. Police also called to tell me it was illegal. Interesting. Do you think the police were harassing the owners of Tujia or C-Trip or Xiaoju? I'm going to guess no. Or I'm going to guess way less than Airbnb scrutiny. And then you say, well, how would the Chinese government know who the property owners are on Airbnb, right? Like that's been the thing in New York City. New York City also would have loved to send cops to your door if you were on Airbnb, but they really struggled to figure out who was on the platform. And Airbnb was able to hide a lot of that and prevent New York City from actually getting that information. China, different story, right? Oh yeah, there's this thing called the Chinese government will get all your data, and if you don't, you're going to be thrown in jail. Yeah, that thing. In 2020, the company's then chief trust officer, Sean Joyce, a former FBI deputy director, resigned 6 months into his role over concerns about data sharing. Airbnb's presence in China had also been a source of controversy. You think Sean Joyce went in there and said, so we're giving everything to the Chinese government? And they said, yeah, what else are we going to do? You're just not going to win there. You're just not going to win. And if you win, it's because your business is too small or too insignificant to the CCP, that they just don't care. But the moment you actually do show any sign of material success or growth, you're done. Like, you're done. That's the scariest thing about Tesla being in China, which we've also talked about on the show. We had General Spalding, former brigadier general, on the show, talking about his first book called Stealth War. We talked exactly about this same concern. You know, what the article should read is Airbnb gives up on China because China doesn't like US tech companies. The other Airbnb competitors in China are still operating. They didn't shut down because China has a zero COVID policy, which crushes tourism. No, guarantee you, they're still in operation. But this was the final nail in the coffin for Airbnb. Probably net a good thing. Airbnb shouldn't bother focusing there. What's probably more bizarre is that with all the cost cutting and all the things that Airbnb did to tighten its belt, which was badly needed, by the way, it still kept Airbnb China. Oh, sorry. It's not called Airbnb in China. It's now called iBeing, whatever that is. They still kept iBeing going all the way until May of 2022. Can't you take a hint? Yikes. Wow. All these US CEOs want, look at the pot of gold in China. It's not a pot of, it's a trap. If you like this video, go check out our video with Fritz Demopoulos, the founder of TrueNar, which then became C-Trip. The guy's a billionaire. Now he's like looking into alien and exploring life, in the universe. Very cool interview. That part is at the end of the interview. And you could also go check out our interview with General Spalding, where we talk about the information war that we are currently in with China.